No matter which religion you follow, the concept and the conversation around free will and God's plan gets really muddy. People become more confused than somebody studying quantum physics. You would think that this subject is built around subatomic particles, but it's really not. It's simple when you really break it down, but there is actually three types of will, and the last one's a little goofy. You have some people on the side of the fence choose to use their free will all the time. These people are usually in the occult, doing demonic rituals and all kinds of witchcraft. In that space, in the left-hand path, I can't tell you how many times whenever I was involved that I heard about free will. Free will is their biggest thing. They want to have freedom, but what they're saying about their freedom is they want to have control. They want to have control over other people, other things. It's a very serious, dark area whenever you start talking about free will with somebody in the occult or in witchcraft. Now, some people choose to not use their free will at all. These people are bizarre to me. They run around and act like they're an NPC or like a character in The Sims. Surprised they don't just electrocute themselves like plugging in their TV or using a toaster one morning. But that is a different conversation, and every time I talk about that, people get mad at me, so I'm going to avoid it. So I want to do the YouTube-y thing and bait you guys all the way to the end, but I'm not going to do it this time, I promise. When I say there's three types of will, there is free will, there is God's plan, and the last one is actually temptation. I'll quickly explain it and then dive into each of them and how they correlate and how they interact with each other. But free will is obviously you have free will. You have the choice to do things. You're not bound to do something. For example, it's the same thing as the jinn. We have the free will and the ability to choose what religion we follow. There's Christians, there's Muslims, there is the Tiny Hat Club. I had to put the hood up real quick. It works better on the green screen. But then the second section, or the first one, it probably should have been first, is God's will, God's plan. God has a plan, and if he wills it, it is not going to be broken. If Allah wills something to exist or something to happen, it will happen. That one's pretty cut and dry, pretty simple. The problem with that one is a lot of people take it to an extreme. I'll explain a little bit more later. But they take it to an extreme and they act like they don't have choices, that everything is just a plan. Everything is a part of a plan, of course, but we also do have free will. We have the ability to make decisions, and it's actually kind of sad seeing people in that state where they just disconnect. They give up on life and they say, oh, God has a plan. I'm just not going to put any effort into things. And that's not a good place to be in either. Now, the third one being temptation. This mimics will. This mimics free will. Jinn like to do this. The shaitan, iblis, all these things like to do this. They mimic free will. They like convincing humans to do things or having temptation to pull humans in a direction and sitting there saying, haha, I got him to do this. See, I have control. I have power over this. They follow my will. This is their ultimate trick. This is the thing they're the best at. Demons, negative energies, anything that has a dark connotation around it. Its only strength is temptation. Like, I really, really wish people could understand this. The only strength they have over anybody ever is just temptation. It's just a tempt, a little whisper. They tempt you into doing these bad things and it starts steamrolling and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And then next thing you know, you're way over here, way away from God, and you're wondering how you got there. Okay, back onto the free will topic, because this is kind of hard to explain to certain people. Free will is not the decisions you make. It's not choosing to wear this jacket versus this jacket. That is the outcome of free will. See, you are your consciousness. You are what's observing your life and your experiences. You are not your brain. You are not your body. These things have to be returned to God. You are your consciousness. You are what's seeing and what's aware of yourself. You are what is here in the present moment. Now, that being said, there is pieces to this, and this is where the conversation of the ego comes in. In the left-hand path and the spiritualists, they like to talk about the ego all the time, and they don't understand it in the slightest bit. Your ego is not a negative thing, nor is it a positive thing. It is a tool or a weapon. If a weapon is out of control, it can harm a lot of people. But if you can use it correctly, you can use it in a way to accomplish a lot of good things. Think of it like a hammer. You can use a hammer to cause mayhem, right? You put holes in walls all day. Or you can use a hammer to build a house. It's up to you. So this ego is a part of your consciousness. This is almost slightly in the subconscious. This ego, this thing, is designed to keep you safe. but you aren't consciously aware of it. So the ego is slightly separate from free will. But the thing about the ego is it prevents us from being free. Where your free will comes in is you choose when to use your ego or not. This is something that's very important. There is so many parts in the Quran that is entirely just teaching us how to use our ego correctly, when to turn it on, when to turn it off, not to use it in this moment, but to use it over here. The Quran is a rule book for the ego and when you should use it and when you shouldn't use it. Now, above that, you have God's plan, Allah's will. If He wills it, it exists. There's no getting around that. I like to think of this like a series of rooms with many doors inside each room. You're inside this room and it's lined up with doors. Well, God is the one that will open up those doors for you. There's some times in your life where you're able to check the handle and open the door yourself, but these doors will open. And now it is up to you to walk through that door. Now, there will be moments too where God will push you through the door and say, no, you're going this direction. This is what's best for you. You can see this a lot within your blessings. These are the moments where God pulls you through a door. When you pray to Allah and you ask for something and He brings it to you, a lot of the time that's what it feels like. It feels like He's just pulling me or pulling you through these doors and putting us on the correct path that we need to be. And other times He just locks the door. He shuts the door and locks it and says, no, you're not allowed to go down that path. That path will be horrible for you. You're not going that direction. I can relate to that personally. It happens all the time, and a lot of us struggle with it. When that door gets shut, closed, and we're trying to run down that direction and we slam straight into the door and fall on our face, it's for a reason. God is there. God is helping us. If you're doing something in life and it's failing over and over and over and over again and you don't know why, there might be a reason. Maybe you're supposed to pivot a little bit. Now we go into America's favorite direction, which is temptation. Temptation is everywhere, and it's getting worse by the day. It's not getting better. Temptation everywhere. I'm not even going to explain each and every temptation. You guys know exactly what it is. But temptation is not God's plan and it is not your free will. So it is something slightly different. Temptation is when the shaitan, when Iblis, all these negative demonic entities want to play with you. They want to pull you in the direction you're not supposed to be. They want to make you fail. They want to make you fall on your face. Temptation is the second thought. There's moments in your life where you think to yourself like, okay, I need to do this thing. I need to do the dishes. I'm going to go take care of that. And then that second thought pops in your head and you're like, oh, maybe I should eat ice cream instead. Maybe I should watch some more TV. Maybe I should look up what's new on Netflix. That is temptation. That is the second thought, not the first thought, not the organic thought. They manipulate your own free will. In other words, they take your free will away from you. It's really what happens. They take your free will away, they strip it away from you and say, no, come my direction. I need you over here. And then they sit back amongst themselves and laugh at you. They're like, haha, look, I got him to not do the dishes. I got him to not change his underwear. I got him to do this, and this. And they sit there and have a good time doing this. It is all through temptation. And temptation continues to build all the time. The worst one I see all the time in America, you know, divorce rates here are really bad. We have the most awful divorce rates. And the biggest thing I see for temptation in America especially is the temptation that ruins marriages. This temptation leads them into divorce, breaks up a family, messes with that kid's future if they have children together. It's awful. It's terrible. And it is rampant. They do it all over. It's all over social media, the radio, all these songs that people are listening to. It's talking about doing all these negative things that are unfaithful to your partner. You see it all over on television. When you watch any movies for the past 5 years, every single one of the movies makes the mom seem like this controlling, overbearing woman that complains 24/7, and it makes the dad seem disconnected from the family and doesn't want to talk to the children. These kind of things do bury into your subconscious. These kind of things are temptations. They pull you in a direction that is not of your own free will. Now, I just wanted to get this off my chest. It was something that's been stuck in my head the last couple days. And you might hear some background noises in this video. I have some neighbors like banging around doing who knows what next door. And I have nothing to plug. Just go download some books. Just go on to dravenishere.gumroad.com and get the books. The Tiny Hat Club has shut down my 5th merchant, so I got to find somebody else that'll let me process transactions. So I'll have some cool merch eventually. I don't know. Whenever it works, it works.